We have a important controversy that we first need to address before we go any further. This was talked about in the live chat, and we can no longer ignore it. I don't think it must be discussed. And honestly, I don't know how to bring it up. It's one of those things that you really never want to have to tackle. But here we are, and this is the card we've been dealt. Anyway, before we get to that, we have a special guest with us to shoot the shit, and that would be the Godless Iowan. Hello, Godless Iowan.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Wait, I thought you were talking about me. Aren't I the special guest?
Oh, yes. No, trust me,
I'm
Steve,
special, but not the guest. Okay, I'm making sure.
We're getting ready to talk about you, Steve. We're getting ready to talk about you.
You always talk about me.
But first, Godless Iowan, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do and how long you've been a part of the community so far.
Well, I am the Godless Iowan, and I'm a former Pentecostal minister of about 10 years. I have been out of the church for about 4 years now, and really active in the community for probably about the last year. I started a blog and was just kind of telling my journey from being a fundamentalist minister to being an atheist, and that got me into sharing my favorite YouTube videos of the week. And then it was actually Holy Kool-Aid made a video about content creators, and that kind of put me over the edge to become a content creator on YouTube.
Excellent. Well, after we address this controversy, I have many questions for you because probably the scariest event in my life happened at a Pentecostal church. So
I can only imagine.
That's the whole speaking in tongues, and that's the whole hallelujah,
yes.
faint on the ground, that's the kind of stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of speaking in tongues, Steve, are you ready to address the...
Normally, what about it?
Actually, I think he proved everyone's point.
Kind of like listen to you try to speak philosophy, right?
See, now we're going to low blows. We're going to low blows.
It's due to the controversy.
Look, the hashtag Steve's Mic movement, we have heard you, and we are not ignoring you. We fuck Steve's mic. Fuck Steve's mic.
As explained, it is Skype and OBS. It's a compatibility issue where I'm working on workarounds. But right now, I changed things around. See, it should be working fine right now. Is my mic clear in the live chat? Is there any buzz or anything like that?
I think it should be hashtag Steve's mic, hashtag the buzz heard round the world.
Oh.
Well, yeah, there you go. Ooh. I mean, it's the buzz, man. Have you heard the buzz? That's Steve.
Oh. Nice save, though. Nice save.
Anyway,
we hear you. We hear you.
Well, they say the mic is good. See, like I said, it really only seems to appear when there's 4 people on Skype. On 3, it's not that bad, and just like 2 people when I record, it seems to be okay.
Uh-huh.
But
your mic is antisocial.
Is that your safety blanket? Your little notepad? This is my notepad. It protects me.
This is what happens when I fear philosophy coming on. Anti-philosophy.
Oh, hey, Dustin had some serious philo going on. He actually made a lot of sense. I actually got to admire his positions, to say the least.
He did. I'm surprised with that. I did not expect it to go quite that well. A part of me wishes that it didn't. I was waiting for the Jerry Springer moment where chairs were going to fly and all that, but it didn't happen, and that's okay. It was still a great discussion, I think. Sometimes you need those, I think. Being a Pentecostal minister, Godless Iowan reformer, how did you kind of view what we just saw?
I still kind of don't know exactly what Dustin does believe, but it seems like he comes from a very liberal Christianity type of belief. Definitely would be hellbound if you were in my former faith.
Well, no, he came from a Pentecostal, he said. So that's not really liberal. He's liberal now. But...
No.
What?
That kind of thing, it would have been kicked out of the church.
Right. No, he changed his position, but he used to be. Did he not say he was Pentecostal? I thought he was very fundamental. I mean, but then he migrated his positions away from that. But you're right. To a Pentecostal, he'd be as bad as an atheist, right?
Oh yeah, we would pray over the church to get rid of that evil.
kind of like why do they pray over people that are like demonically possessed, and they all seem to be religious people? I never seen an atheist get demonically possessed. Does Satan just want to mess with the believers or something?
This is where I want to go, because when I was a little kid, I went with a best friend of mine to a Pentecostal church, and I wasn't warned or informed ahead of time, and I feel like that should be a requirement. When you guys see nude people coming through the door, you should have like a little training video, I think, to prepare for the message. Was fine. It was just like, any other message. But
why were people naked in your church?
Stood up. Huh?
Why were people naked in your church?
I didn't say naked.
You said nude. Oh, they said there's people. When you see nude people walking through the door, church. I'm like, hey, that sounds like an awesome church to me. Where do I go?
Hashtag the buzz heard around the world.
There's no buzz, they said. Bite me.
But so dispel this myth for me, because a lot of people speak in tongues, and you hear it only is valid if somebody's there to interpret it, or there's so many different pieces to that. As somebody who used to do it, please tell us now that talking in tongues is not a real thing.
Talking in tongues is not a real, technically not a real thing. It exists in many different faiths. Well, I'll explain. I always mess up on this word, but glossolalia is what speaking in tongues is. And it's basically you're just repeating syllables that you already know over and over. And you add in new syllables. You start like shandalamo setai, hadamo shetai, hadamo kai, hadamo shetai, hadamo kai.
Wait, I have to interpret. Buzz heard around the world. That's what he said.
It's a real thing that people do, but it has no spiritual meaning. It's
there's no spiritual meaning.
Yeah, and I know a lot of ex-Pentecostal that can actually do it quite well, and that actually so either one of two things happening: anybody can speak in tongues. You don't need any godly power to do it, or God is giving this ability to do something that anybody else can do anyway. So what kind of special gift is that?
Well, it's just it adds with the euphoria that you feel in a Pentecostal service. It's all built up. Yeah, it's built up over the service. The music goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, and by the end, when people start having these experiences like speaking in tongues and fainting in the spirit and stuff like that, they've just been built up. They have all this dopamine running through their system that it doesn't take much to get you to over that edge to start. Now, when it comes to speaking in tongues and interpretation of tongues, with my tradition, there was a spoken message given to the church that had to be interpreted, but there was also a message in tongues that was like a prayer language you were told that you would do while you were by yourself. But they were both the same thing, and it's all made up. I even had Godless Cranium speaking in tongues. So
do you? This is interesting to me. The times you were up there, as a preacher doing this, do you know in the back of your mind you're going, I know this is bullshit, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like the conscious decision to, because you're in a tough spot. You have to do it because it's part of the ritual. But are you aware at some level that you're like, this isn't real?
Not well. Okay. When you're raised in this and it's just normal, sure, you don't really see anything odd about it. But the last couple years of my ministry, when I actually started having my doubts and was moving away from the faith, I would see people speak in tongues, and I would know that there was going to be an interpretation come. And in the church I went to was very old-fashioned Pentecostal, and the interpretation was always in Old English, like the King James version of the Bible.
Why?
And so God would God would always talk in a fashion like, "Oh, yea, my people, thou shalt not."
God is very highfalutin in his
Yes.
vocabulary. So wait, when you were doing speaking in tongues, when people tried to interpret what you were saying, did you ever say, "No, that's not fucking what I said"? Did you ever just stop and go, "No, guys, no, that's not what I meant"? No.
I have had where I spoke in tongues and then someone gave an interpretation and it was an attack of me. Yeah, I was like, no, I don't think that's what I was saying.
That's epic. That's well played, I think.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of my ministry, I was preaching more along the lines of a lot of philosophy and stuff like that. I was mixing in like Plato and Socrates and Aristotle and things like that, just because I couldn't stand the Bible anymore. So I would read maybe one scripture in the Bible, and then I would take it in another direction towards a philosophical idea, and that made me devil possessed to some of the people in the church.
So I've got to ask you, if not for the healings and the speaking in tongues and the interpretations in Old English, which that's a new one to me. I didn't know it went that far. What finally did it for you where you were just like, nah, not buying it anymore?
I actually sat down and I started really reading the Bible, and not just because I had read it many, many times, but I actually sat down to try and understand exactly what it was saying. And as I read through it, I realized that there was less and less that I was believing. And by the time I got to the point where I had stopped believing in the resurrection and stuff like that it was just unbelievable, I basically threw it all out and was like, I don't believe any of it anymore.
Now, you were a young earther too, right? Pentecostal young earther, correct?
I was a young earther, but the weird thing about being a young earther sometimes is you can have two separate mindsets in mind, because I would love watching dinosaur shows. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'd be going, yeah, but this is wrong because the Earth is only 6,000 years old.
Okay. Dinosaurs were on the ark.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a mating pair of T-Rexes. True story. Yeah.
It's a proven fact. It is in the ark in Kentucky, so therefore
no,
it's real.
They have a what do they have
a dinosaur kind.
Yeah, I forget what the. Yeah.
What do you mean by kind? Let me ask you this, by the way, Godless Iowan, before we move on. Have you ever seen an elephant produce a pine tree?
I can't say that I have.
Evolution's falsified then. There you go.
I'm going back to church now.
You know how many people have...
Oh. And that's God right there.
You know what's funny is I have a lot of people message me. And
you cut out, Steve. You cut out.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that they most comment on, or one of the things I see often, is when people bring up this whole elephant and pine cone tree. And I still have people message me saying, you guys are advocating that you evolved from a pine tree. And I'm like, you did not pay attention to the discussion. Nobody advocated, nobody said something as ridiculous as we evolved from a pine tree. And even when I explained to them, look, we are not plants, okay? If we evolved from a pine tree, we would still be plants. We are not plants. We are animals. They still can't conceptualize that. That's how basal level they are in this whole thing. And they're like, no. You said, and Aaron said that you evolved from a pine tree. I'm like, no, I assure you nobody ever said that. Yes, Kyle?
I'm confused because I thought the whole point of that was that we actually did come from pine trees.
Yeah, you confuse easily.
That's not true?
Not true.
You mean the big, scary bully told me a lie?
No, well, Hovind doesn't advocate that either, but I mean, it's just kind of funny that that's kind of the argument that came from that. Is like, oh, look at evolutionists, silly them. They think that elephants and humans evolved from pine trees, and we're like, God, you're an idiot. That's just...
I'll tell you what I find hilarious is, by the way, breaking news, Steve and Kyle are the worst moderators for a non-debate on YouTube.
A non-moderated discussion. We're the worst moderators.
I see it about at least a couple hundred times a day. These moderators are garbage. We've got to where we started to pin them at the top just to get a running list going. But for anybody listening, this was not a debate. Again, this was a discussion. Meaning, in a discussion like we're having now, Godless Iowan, would you have the option, or would you take the option to have a moderator here if you could be, or is this discussion going how discussion should usually go?
I think this discussion is going fairly well, but it's going to depend on Steve's mic.
My mic is fine.
Might need a moderator for that.
Mic is fine.
But it's good. It's good.
It's good.
You got it.
But yeah, it is funny though, because that is one of the things we hear often, that you didn't moderate the discussion. And then from the other camp, I swear, the other camp says this need to be more moderated. You can't get away with too much stuff. It's like you can't win. It's like, okay, we take the middle ground. Whatever. It's but it's funny. We find it enjoyable. We do read most of the comments, if not all of them. So realize that neither side's going to be happy. Either moderated enough or not enough or too much, and you do what you can do, right?
This morning on my channel, I had a comment about the Hovind Arnra debate, and they were saying that you guys did not let Hovind talk at all. You just kept him quiet the whole time because you're afraid that your argument is going to be seen through because there are no missing links.
And yet I've had Hovind on 9 times, and for actual debates where he got half the time, as we had said during those debates, I gave him half the time. He's never had an argument, he's never had a problem with that. He's always agreed, yes, it was treated fairly and at equal time. We did not set it up that way on this particular discussion. We made very clear this is not a debate, does not those rules. It is you guys talking, and then involve us when you need to, or we clarify. Both parties were satisfied with that. I think he used it as an escape, obviously. But yeah, this narrative that we won't let Hovind talk, the whole point of that was to have a couple questions answered. And when you're not answering the question being asked and you're going off some tangent, then yeah, you need to be brought back. If I say, hey, what's 1 + 1, Kyle? And Kyle says, well, yesterday, I decided to go to the store and I bought some popcorn. That has nothing to do with the question. Yeah, we're going to try to draw him back. That's what a good moderator does. And Kyle has a tendency to do that. You got to bring him back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I went down to the store yesterday and and
got popcorn.
So basically, if you want to know what Hovind would have said in response, had he got the opportunity to have equal time than Arn did, merely go back and choose any debate.
Exactly.
Is on YouTube and play it.
They're all the same.
And it will fit. They're all the same. In fact, I am starting a conspiracy where I don't believe that Kent Hovind actually exists. I think it was a recording made in 1969, and they have been leaking all over the place. This Kent Hovind thing is not real, guys. Listen, tomorrow I will have comments about how I'm a sodomite and
but they can't prove it's not wrong.
So literally somebody could do a great video being a parody of Kent, just saying the same things that he says. Hi, I'm Kent Hovind. I've taught high school science for 15 years.
I want to make sure that I am not losing my mind. Did anyone else see the Godless Iowan suddenly have a pair of rabbit ears and then not have them again?
Proving evolution.
I'm not losing. Steve, did you see that?
I wasn't looking, but
that was my wife.
I can do that. I can do that as well if you want, but I have to change my thing over. But yeah, I have the ability to put rabbit ears on.
My wife, Mrs. Snarky, is truly very, very snarky. And
okay, good.
I have a magic camera though.
I was.
Yeah.
I thought I was losing my shit there for a second.
She snuck in and put bunny ears on me while I was trying to listen to you.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that was good, Miss Snarky, but I thought that for a second I was literally.
So we do have an instance of a human becoming a rabbit.
Yes, evolution proven.
Awesome.
Steve, is our other person coming on or not?
Negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get back to your story. You decided that it just wasn't for you. How did your friends and family and your social ring kind of react to that? They must burn you in effigy, I'm sure.
Well, a lot of the people in my former congregation will not speak to me. They'll duck behind aisles when I'm in the store because I still live in the same community.
Very Christian.
But yes, very Christian of them. But a good portion of my congregation was my family, and they think that I have either, on one hand, been possessed by some kind of demon or oppressed, and it's eventually I'll come back to the ministry, or on the other hand, that I've just gone insane.
That's
and
what
they
think
just
about
accept
Apologia.
me. They accept me as I'm a crazy person that's going to hell, basically. So
Yeah.
it's totally different, but
Apologia had a similar story. He was very saddened. I mean, his sister actually was hugging him during a family reunion and crying because, in her mind, she had lost, her brother, that her brother's condemned to hell, and she's like emotionally traumatized by this.
yeah, my mother and I came the closest to completely severing ties. And I finally, because every time we would talk, she would talk about how she's bawling and crying at night and praying for hours that God will bring me back to the faith. And finally, I just told her, we've got to come to a place where we can't talk faith, or there's not going to be a relationship here at all. And things have gotten better. They're not where they once were, but they have gotten better.
That's good. I take it that you've probably got the monopoly on Godless in Iowa, right? There's not too many, I wouldn't think.
Well, that's kind of funny. My first name when I started my blog was the Iowa Atheist. And all kinds of people were coming to me saying, "Are you Justin Scott?" And he's a very prominent atheist from Iowa who won an American Atheist Award.
See what I mean?
That's not me.
It can only be one.
So I changed it to an atheist in Iowa, and I just got nothing but people going, "Oh, great, there's an atheist in Iowa. That's really interesting." So
That's your entire platform. Well, I live in Iowa and I'm an atheist. Come subscribe.
That's actually funny.
So I went with the Godless Iowan and had my friend draw me up a bunch of avatars and my logo, and went with it from there.
And your logo is a... Go ahead and tell everybody.
My avatar is the straw man.
Very, very nuanced to have a straw man on the NonSequitur Show.
Yes.
We get a lot of those. Matter of fact, I am the king of recipient of straw man arguments.
So tell everybody what it is that you do on the weekends and your weekend tube thing, because I think that's really neat.
Weekend tube was just kind of an idea that I had. Actually, it's because on YouTube, there's definitely different groups of atheists that produce content, and agnostics and different, and they don't seem to mix in some parts. And so I thought it'd be a great place to put out content that I thought was great throughout the week and bring together the community a little more. And so I put 10, 15, sometimes 20, that was a little too much, videos that I've enjoyed throughout the week, and share it on Twitter and Facebook, and just kind of try to show people what's out there.
I think that's really cool. How long have you been on the YouTube side of things? How long have you been creating content and all that?
About a month and a half I've been creating content on
Newbie.
YouTube. Yes, I'm very new.
So are we.
Still don't have everything quite down.
Not me.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll get my video done and I'll upload it, and then I'll realize, oh crap. Well, it's there. It's garbage, but it's there.
Yeah. Steve just made a kind of, what's the word? Very arrogant, like, oh, speak for yourself. I've been in YouTube.
I've been around for a while.
For years. Well, Mr. YouTube for years, you would think by now you would know that you need a microphone that worked.
Does it not sound wonderful?
It
I think
does
right
really.
now
It does.
you'd better software
Yes.
than Skype.
It does.
But hey, you know what? I think you should tell people about the 0.01% thing.
Come again?
The 0.01%.
Refresh my memory. You know, I can't hold but so much
The
information.
the use of bot to get 0.01%.
Oh yeah. So I got a on Social Blade when you sign up, you fill out your email address and you put your channel in and all that. Well, I got an email saying that we had met their requirements for partnership, and so I sent it off just to see. It's a risk-free thing, so they'll just let you know what they'll offer you, and you can accept it or try it out or not. So I figured, what could it hurt? Well, I sent it off, and later on that day, I got an email back saying that we had been denied, which I thought was funny because they sent me an email saying that we were we were eligible and then denied us. But the email said that we were denied on the basis that our channel had suspicious activity in the fact that usually with the amount of growth and the subscriber increase that you have, it's within 0.01% of channels that are not actively involved in bots and so long story short, Social Blade called us. Our bot scheme is up. We have to stop with the bot. So
literally the odds of us getting to the numbers we're at in the 3-month period, the subscribers, the views, the uploads we have, the odds of getting that, they say it'd be 0.01%.
it's the same odds as your microphone working properly. That's the way that I like to think about it.
That's pretty low. So I mean, that's actually a compliment to us and to you guys that a new channel in 3 months, and we're able to obtain those kind of numbers. Even Social Blade has not seen those types of things, so that's amazing.
It's more you guys though, because I have no clue why you would listen to this, especially me. Now, Godless Iowan, he's got a great story. Go and sub to Godless Iowan, but this, what are you doing?
This is an awesome channel.
Oh, thank you. We like to have fun. You can't take yourself. I don't think you can't take yourself too seriously. I used to do stand up when I was in college every weekend. So I would go in literally every weekend, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would go down to this place in downtown Greensboro, the Idiot Box, and we would do just open mic nights and just get killed. I went up several nights of my life doing 5 minutes, because once you commit, in order to get any kind of, if you want to come back or you want to get paid or whatever, you have to do the time that you say that you're going to. So if you get up there and you're committed to doing 10 minutes and you suck, then you suck for 10 minutes and you don't move off that stage until you see that light. But what it kind of taught me was that even in those situations, the story afterwards is so much worth it. And that's kind of been my approach to everything. I don't know if it's going to work or if it's going to hit or if it's going to miss, but the story either way later on down the road will be all the more reason to do it, because I'm either going to be sitting in a bar stool, when I'm 45, punched over an ashtray, going, I used to be the shit on YouTube, or I'm going to be going, then that YouTube thing didn't work out too much. The ends already set there for you. But I'm like you. I had kind of a similar. I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, and I didn't leave until I was 25, and for a whole host of reasons. Being a gay guy with a doubt in the South is not really an ideal place. So I had a lot of motivating factors, but once you break through that, I think, and you're able to take a step back, I started feeling kind of like you should do more for the people that you used to be on that side of the fence with. Like how do you, without being too touchy, because it's a touchy subject, how do you kind of try to bring them over to the line without being that guy and that atheist guy, and all he wants to do is spread?
That's kind of been why I decided to stay in my local area. When I first came out as an atheist, I looked online and I saw all kinds of people, and I would talk to folks and they'd say, oh, you got to move to the coast. You got to move to a big city. And I was like, no, I kind of just want to stay here and provide an example of what an atheist can be, that I'm not a devil worshiper, that I'm just a guy buying eggs at the grocery store. Even though my former congregation probably sees me as Satan incarnate, I have had a lot of people come up to me and tell me that I'm no different than, well, I'm different, but I'm not evil. They can tell that I'm just a normal, regular guy. And I think that there are some people that probably do better moving away from their area, but I think there's definitely a good thing of being there so that, people growing up, they can see positive examples of atheists in their community and not just think of them as the East Coast or West Coast liberals that want to kill all the babies and do whatever they can.
Yeah, where does this demonization of atheists come from? When you don't see the atheists running out and doing most of the horrific things that we see in the name of God, right? So
Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly's not an atheist.
No, he demonizes.
That's where the
where it comes from. Oh yeah, no, I understand there's pundits out there that put forth that narrative, but I'm not asking the primary source. I'm asking though, what is the justification for that? Where do they make the argument from? Yeah, I know the pundits that put that out there, but there just seems to be nothing substantially behind it to make an argument from.
Well, the way it was taught to me growing up in church is that an atheist is someone that the devil has gotten into their mind enough that they can pollute it to the point where they don't believe in God. And so if you're an atheist, you're basically possessed by Satan, and you're going to do, no matter how nice you are, the only reason you're a nice person or a regular everyday person is to eventually indoctrinate another person into atheism.
So you're faking niceness for your non-altruistic motives, that you're thinking, hey, you know what? I have to be nice to this person so I can suck them into my atheism.
The really funny thing is that's actually the environment of most churches on Sunday. A bunch of people acting nice to each other when they actually hate each other.
I can speak from experience. There's a lot of drama that goes on in church, and I'm sure as the more fundamental you get, the more drama there is.
Yeah, a lot about food.
Mostly over food.
Two people bring the same dish to a potluck. Oh.
Do they duke it out?
You'll have two churches.
Yeah, but I told Ethel it was my turn for potato salad.
Yeah, the fact that they have that narrative, that they have to put forth that narrative, to me just undermines their entire credibility to begin with, right? I'm not going to have much credence that I give to somebody who wants to use that kind of dishonest tactics to put forth their own agenda.
Wait a minute. You're not going to lend credence to those who believe that a talking snake.
Well, that's actually rare. Most Christians don't actually believe that there's a talking snake, and even if they did, that's fine. I don't have a problem with a talking snake because they could just say God talked to the snake. Okay, whatever, big deal.
I actually have a different
I don't care about that. That's irrelevant
to me.
Talking
snake.
What's that?
I have a different direction of the talking snake, and I'm telling you, my grandfather taught this in his church for 20 some odd years.
Go on.
The talking snake taught Eve sodomy. And Eve taught sodomy to Adam. And that is what the talking snake is actually synonymous with sodomy somehow.
Well, you know what? Everything comes back to sodomy eventually, so it's okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. I'm sure, that's one wonderful thing about the Bible, especially Genesis. You can read into it anything you fucking want. I mean, I can say it's about anything, and who the fuck's going to disprove me is kind of thing.
The crazy thing is that there were people who went, "Yep, sounds right."
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm more concerned about. Thank you, Kyle. It's not the person that made that really ridiculous type of leap of interpretation. It's the people that actually bought into it. I think I'm more concerned about.
Well, God was divinely telling my grandfather that. So,
for fuck's sake.
That's the thing is when you're raised in a tradition that says this guy that stands in front of the pulpit every Sunday, he's divinely inspired by God and giving you God's message. Anything he says can be seen as godly and good.
Flag on that one
He's got snakes and sodomy on the brain. Your grandfather was fucking with people. You know this, right?
Oh, he was fucking
No. Yeah. My grandfather is a loon.
Yeah, and I think he might be more deeper in the closet than you give him credit for.
Oh, he when I got out of the faith, I went to college and I was taking a world history course, and I had to watch some speeches given by Hitler, and I watched this, and I realized that every mannerism that Hitler used when he gave his speeches was the exact way that my grandfather preached.
Okay.
It's an effect. Well, it is an effective thing. I mean, that whole form of
Yes.
aggressive type posturing and aggressive type communication that does get people's attention. It's worked. I mean, look at the same thing for PC Barnum and those kind of carnival type things. That hawking that they do, that carnival type hawking that they do, it's effective.
Oh yeah.
You know what has to happen now? Someone has to dub somebody talking about sodomy snakes over
hashtag sodomy snakes. It's trending
over the
See what you learn on the NonSequitur Show here? We're not just for fun and family, we're for educational purposes too.
Yeah, no doubt.
These aren't even the craziest stories that I have heard over the years.
These I think are the best. This is how really cool. I'm a huge person that loves inside jokes. When I'm not a part of an inside joke, I get really upset. I'm one of those people that if I don't know what an inside joke is, but it's stuff like this that you get the best inside jokes with. Because anytime somebody says sodomy snakes now, you know where it's coming from. So
you'll never forget that, will you? So sodomy snakes and pine trees and elephants, you know where it's from.
And the buzz heard around the world. Don't forget that one.
That's right. Hashtag buzz heard around the world.
Hashtag buzz.
So let's talk about real quickly tomorrow with King Crocoduck and.
I'm not looking forward to this. I'm just going to say it out there. I got to tell the truth. I don't lie to people. I am not looking forward to this. I am not a big fan of Max Colby, as people know. I've made that very clear. I don't think I've ever talked to him, so this might be the first time I've actually had a communication with him directly, verbally, believe it or not.
And we won't be in, we won't be in the crosshairs. We'll just kind of be guiding the conversation. But
you think that, right? Okay.
Yeah. I think that to me we set the parameters at what are the justifications for either Christianity or atheism. So we're kind of going to be going in both directions. And Red Pill was gracious enough to accept this last minute, so we do thank him for that. Despite
it's the name of the channel is Red Pill Religion. His name is Max or Dean.
Sure. Yeah. I'm advertising it as Red Pill Religion. He can Max Colby, Red Pill Religion. It's all good with me. I think it's there are people who have 9 different names. I'm one of those people. I don't mind calling you all 9 of them. Doesn't matter to me as long as we know who we're talking to. I'm good. But I do want to thank him for last minute deciding that he would do this. I think it's going to be a well worth a watch discussion. Like them or not, they're 2 very smart people, just in totally opposite directions. I think that they both go in different ways, and that's okay. That's what makes for it.
It's going to be a great discussion.
Yeah,
great.
if you wanted a little bit more action tonight, tomorrow will definitely be your discussion. We are doing something now, and the details are literally being worked out as we speak. But Sunday for our kind of our space science pseudo Sunday, the kind of rhythm we've got ourselves into on Sundays now. We've got an interesting aspect that we're going to kind of play this Sunday, and we're going to go in the UFO direction, but not the UFO direction where it's like alien UFOs, but like the actual confirmed, Pentagon papers that were released a couple weeks ago. We've got two very, very, very knowledgeable and established within that circle going to come on. We'll be announcing those tomorrow, but I think it's going to be an interesting discussion.
Oh, by the way, you know that one UFO video I have been meaning to tell you? I found out on that one video, that one where they lock on, right? That was actually another fighter jet that was using a different type of burner system that was on infrared with FLIR, I think it was. But that I think that was already they determined that was another fighter jet out there.
Send that link to me, because I just saw another. The Washington Times put out a kind of clip-on piece, I guess, to that story, and they still have not, as of last night, from what I saw from the Washington Post, they still have not identified that.
Yeah, I'll have to find it because people were talking about it, and I caught some trail end of it, and that was the narrative that was being put out there. So I'll look into that. But yeah, I don't think it's unidentified. I mean, it's identified to some people, but I don't think. Obviously, I don't think it's alien. I don't think we've ever been visited by aliens. I don't think there's ever been a single case of extraterrestrials coming here. First of all, they do exist. They probably looking at this planet going, yeah, right. Probably this big quarantine sign out there in space past Jupiter or something. No extraterrestrials past this point or something.
I agree, and I think that's the interesting part of what we're going to approach Sunday. It's not going to be from the we're being visited by other beings aspect. We're going to take it from the factual basis of, and I haven't seen the article that Steve was talking about. I'm just going based on what I've seen so far, but that's actually the piece that we're going to talk about. And if that is the case, then that's going to change how we do Sunday. But as of the last that I read, this was a aircraft that came in to sight of two commercial planes. They could not identify what it was. Air traffic control couldn't identify it, so they scrambled some fighter jets out there. They could not identify what it was, although they all confirmed that they saw it. And this happened back in October, I believe. But it wasn't declassified until a couple weeks ago. So it's kind of gaining traction now. And whatever aspect you want to come to it from, whether it be it's just an advanced piece of technology that our government doesn't know of from another country, if it's just lights or birds, maybe. I'm sure somebody would probably think it's a bird. However you want to come to it, I think it's an interesting discussion to have, because it's an actual UFO as of right now, unless what Steve was reading is correct. Then that would make it an unidentified UFO. And if that's the case, then we're screwed for Sunday. So let's hope it's still unidentified.
People want to see a Godless Iowan dance for us, if you would be so kind.
Oh.
This is what we made him do to get on the show.
I was going to say, I think it's obvious. I'm just going to put this out here. UFOs are advanced life forms from the hollow earth.
Or concave earth or cellular earth.
Oh, it's hollow. There's no way it's concave or flat.
Yeah, no, it's
hollow.
Funny. I just saw a video that I didn't know existed from Lord Stephen Christ that he did, because he's a big concave cellular earth dude, and I guess he did a video actually recommending that I get sent to FEMA camp for my promotion of the spherical Earth. I was like, oh, how did I miss this? This is interesting. He's like, hey, when I get in power, make sure I put Steve McRae on that FEMA list. I was like, okay.
That's actually funny.
That's hilarious.
They think that FEMA are death camps, is what I've gathered from it. So
There's not enough. I don't follow many conspiracies, but I love hearing about conspiracy, and that's why I like Flat Earth so much, because I love the creativity it takes to, and there's a lot there's a lot of people that have been giving us gripe on YouTube as well for platforming, I guess, the flat earthers. But I mean, if you can't have a discussion on interesting things, then what can you do?
Well,
I think
if you like conspiracies, here is the conspiracy to end all conspiracies. The U.S. government created all the conspiracy theories in order to keep people from knowing what they actually do.
Oh, I agree with that one. That's not a conspiracy theory. I think that's probably true. I think there's, well, at least there's some to it. I don't think the government created them, but I think the government fosters them. Like, for example, I have no doubt that when the whole Area 51 thing was big, that the government, fostered that narrative. Let them think that it's aliens or something. Well, whatever. Because anything that gets them away from the actual truth, which was obviously the development of the S-71 Blackbird and the F-117 stealth fighter. So, they don't care. They'll put out misinformation, or at least foster misinformation. I'm totally believe that. That's not a conspiracy theory, unless I'm a conspiracy theorist. Am I? Maybe I am.
The only one that I buy into 100%, I think, would be JFK. I think that was hands down a government job.
You think that was the CIA?
Absolutely. If not the CIA, one branch of the government. No ifs, ands, or buts about that one. I think that
I'm not saying it's impossible. It's possible.
He was pushing back against the military industrial complex, and it cost him his life. He was not going to play like the other ones before him, and I think that it.
Didn't they release some new papers on that? Did Trump, or just Trump still is it his control whether they release them or not? Still,
they released all, but I think a couple thousand.
Okay.
Which, I mean, when you say that you're going to release them at a certain date, and 50 years pass, and the time comes to release all of them, and you choose to keep 1,000 or so of them classified, I think that there's pretty much a good reason. It's that the government was then involved, and if that comes out, then everybody will lose their shit because they were able to keep something like that hidden.
Yeah,
I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible, but I do think what feeds a lot of conspiracy theories is that the government has to work slow in getting information out. And so when it takes them a couple months to get all the information out there, it allows all of these people that want to believe conspiracies to come up with their own reason for things happening. And then when the government comes out and says it, it seems like the government was hiding something just because it took them so long to get the information out there.
On most instances, I would agree with you. However, on this one, it's different because they set the release date back 50 years ago. So they was supposed to. This was a date that was set back then. Now they still got the information out. They only decided to keep, instead of all of it or releasing all of it, they kept some of it back. So I think that's a pretty clear indication of, hey, we don't want to let these documents out for fear of. Trump was saying that he was going to release all of them. He was tweeting that out several days before, but the CIA and the FBI were having serious discussions with the White House about the need for protection of national security and all that. So I wonder what.
I don't know, this could be the next InfoWars. We're going to make this, a special edition. Non-Sequitur Show.
I'm tired of the frogs being gay.
You can never have too many gay frogs. I'm sorry, man. You can just never.
Kennedy knew all about the gay frogs and was going to expose them.
Gay frogs are fabulous.
I would be all for that. I am pro-gay frogs.
Yeah, I don't see. I get the fascination, but I don't see the fascination, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I've just been dealing with conspiratards for so long that there's just not much new under the sun. I've seen just about everything that they have. Now, I do agree with you. The way they can just try to manipulate shit to sound even remotely plausible, or they think is remotely plausible, is pretty creative. I will give them that.
It doesn't fascinate you that we could have taken out one of our presidents?
Oh, no, I think that's definitely within the realm of reality.
But doesn't that just not sit well with you.
Well, that would have been a bad thing, yes, but I don't have the information necessary to make a judgment either way on it.
Actually, I'll reserve that comment. I was thinking about our Cheeto in chief.
How do you feel about him congratulating Putin?
We're atheists, aren't we supposed to congratulate Putin as well?
I'm not an atheist.
Or you're an agnostic, but I mean,
but how do you congratulate somebody that took the election away from his people? I mean, clearly that was not a free and fair election. I think it's the responsibility of the United States to not put dictators in power and not congratulate people when they don't have fair elections.
But if he rigged the election and handed it to you, you would be congratulating him too.
Well, I mean, again, there seems to be some ties there. That's not a conspiracy thing. I think that's actually something that is demonstrable. I mean, there's obviously Russian influence in our political system. There obviously was during the elections. Anybody who thinks otherwise, I don't know what your argument could possibly be on that, because clearly there was some kind of influence. We just don't know what degree.
I'll give you the argument.
I think I've told. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Wall, MAGA, and tremendous.
I was going to say that nothing surprises me anymore. It's everything that comes out on the news. Yep, that's a thing. Because at first I was outraged by just about everything, and now, like I told Shannon Q on a stream earlier, that I wake up and go, did he nuke anything? And if he didn't, then I go to work and it's gotten to a point where you can't keep up with the outrage.
Welcome to 2018.
Yeah.
The sad thing is going to be for the poor fellow who has to follow him, who's the most boring person on the planet.
I don't. The next president is going to be considered to be the greatest president of all of history, no matter what the fuck he does.
We've already had him.
No, seriously though. I mean, how bad do you have to be worse than Trump? I mean, anything's going to be an improvement here. Let's be realistic here.
I thought Bush was bad, but man, I would give anything to have Bush back in. The controversies with him were the Iraq War excluded, but the fact that when he would say nuclear wrong, that was a news story. Wouldn't you give anything to go back to the days when mispronouncing nuclear was a news thing?
Or where the definition of is?
I'm just telling you that President Flavor Flav is going to be the best thing that this country has ever had.
Yeah, Flavor Flav 2012, yes.
Listen, Godless Iowan, I'm voting your bunny ears before I would vote the president. See, look there, you heard it first. 2020, I think, is the next. I can't even keep up.
2012, 2020, yeah, 2022, isn't it?
This is a good note.
I don't even know what year we're in. 2018, right here. So it's 20. So it's 20. What is it? 2021 or 2022?
This goes with his comment that he's been around forever.
Yeah, you know what? All these years blend together at my age. Don't worry about it.
Steve knows words. He knows all the best words. He's tremendous, bigly.
Bunny 2020.
And with that, I think that's a great moment to end on. But yeah, this has been fun.
Well, before we end it, we have one other thing that you're forgetting.
Do we?
I'll play it right now.
Oh yes. Okay. So
this is what he keeps me around for, just so I remind you.
Right. So apparently, Mr. Buzzkill points out that this video has been around since 2012. I, however, did not see it until last night, so therefore it has not existed until 2018. And this is the first time, the world premiere, you will ever see this anywhere, no matter what corner of the web that you look. This is the first place you will see it, the only place you will see it. It will not be anywhere else. So this is a world premiere exclusive. I hope you're ready.
It's a funny video that we've seen. Okay, here we go. Ready?
You can't find it anywhere.
Let's do it.
Good morning, YouTube. I had another interesting dream last night, and the details of the dream are not important. Sorry for the mess. I just woke up. And I wanted to share this with you, as soon as possible. But yesterday I was thinking about how a lot of atheists have been bombarding my channel and have been bombarding my videos and just saying really cruel things about God, about Jesus, about my Father, my Heavenly Father. And I have a question for all of you atheists out there. If God doesn't exist, who wrote the Bible? Think about that one. Think about it.
Don't lie.
Everybody laugh at that. Oh, that's so funny. Great video. Yay.
Once again, you saw it first here, only here. It exists nowhere else, only web. So I will ask, to finish out the show, I will ask the Godless Iowan to answer that very difficult question that young lady posed to us. Godless Iowan, answer the question.
The question being?
I can't.
You
53.
can't write that any better, can you?
I can't. We can't do this to him. This is cold.
Are we on delay? Can we go back and read?
No. Still live. To the outside chat, Godless Iowan couldn't hear the video because I'm playing for you guys, so he doesn't know what the hell she said.
Little trickery. So, Godless Iowan, if
All right.
God, and I hope
I know what this is.
If, well, you know what? To make it even better, I will not ask the question. You will answer it just like we had originally planned.
All right, go ahead.
And this will end perfectly.
Answer the question that you don't know.
People wrote the Bible.
Bravo. I accept that answer.
And that's how a show works, right? That worked out.
That was good.
I actually didn't see that until last night either.
See? Wait. That's incorrect. You saw it first here.
Okay, yeah, I saw it first here, but I saw it by not seeing it here.
Actually,
yeah,
you
one
didn't even
scene
see it first.
cannot be unseen. That's for sure.
Oh man, it's
and with
I
that
will
note,
see it first after I saw it before when I watched the stream of this later.
Yeah, that works in some weird way. I'm sure that the Godless Iowan is ready to run, but we do thank him for coming on and hanging out with us. This was fun. I think it's good to get to know kind of the people that you are in a community with, and so this will be a nice little thing that we can do. Post debates, just come in, hang out, and talk about whatever we want to. Get to know each other. Beneficial for us, not so much for him, but.
Now remember, if you subscribe, we'll be bringing people on. So
yes, that's also what we're going to start doing is when you subscribe each week, for our podcast is completely different than our live shows. So basically, our podcast are more one-on-one interviews, more of a serious tone, not so much this, but we actually have a serious dialogue with some activists and people who are just have big ideas and they're changing the way that their particular passion moving forward. In my head, that sounded right. I promise.
Yeah, I think we heard you correctly.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. And thank everybody. And
listen. I have to get my full thought out first about the podcast and the subscribers. If you subscribe, we're going to choose 2 each week to join us to be a part, kind of like a live audience, a little bit. But you'll be actually in the hangout with us to listen to the interview, and then at the end, if the guest that we have at that particular time is willing, they can answer your questions. So subscribe, like, share, all that stuff.
And don't forget to watch tomorrow night King Crocoduck and Red Pill Religion, aka Max Colby, aka Dean Esper Esperanza, whatever the fuck his name is. Good night, guys.